Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I am really excited to dig down into today's episode. It's Christmas Eve, and I hope you are cracking out the Baileys, even if it's 7:30 a.m, because in the words of Slade, it is Christmas. I really need to stop singing. Like, somebody needs to take Christmas away from me, because I'm not entirely sure everyone's okay with me singing down at the podcast mic. But still, it is Christmas tomorrow, and if you are a super dedicated poddy and you are running around the shops today looking for last minute gift, or taking me on a long car journey to see your in-laws, walking me with the dog in the morning, whatever you are doing, if you are listening, I want you to know that A, I appreciate you, B, we're going to have a blast this morning, and C, it's Christmas Eve. Just in case you'd forgotten, that's quite a big day. Now, I'm a big fan of Christmas Eve, and one of my favourite parts of Christmas itself is actually midnight mass. Now, as we all know, I'm not particularly religious, but I was raised Catholic, and so every year I go to midnight mass and I sing the hymns, and I get very excited about the sweets and oranges being given to children and occasionally adults. If you ask very nicely, they will give you an orange with a candle in it and some jelly tots. Not that I ask every year, just alternate. Who am I kidding? I always ask for sweets and oranges. So I love everything about Christmas Eve. And, for me, there are a few key highlights for this whole midnight mass that I want to share with you guys, because I think keeping them to myself is selfish. So the first thing is that midnight mass means hymns. And in our family, we're not massively talented singers. I'm not entirely sure whether you've gathered this, given my podcast caroling, if you like, but we're not massively talented. I do pride myself that after a few glasses of wine, I can actually hold a tune. I am somehow better with alcohol than without. But my mother is dire, to the point where apparently in her music exams as a child, they used to make her whistle to prove that she knew how to hit a tune, because apparently her voice was not angelic. So we stand there on Christmas Eve in the pew and we're singing hymns, and my mum sings, and I just can't help laughing, and I get a fit of the giggles every single year. So about 11:30 at night, we are sat or stood in a very, very cold church, and my shoulders start shaking and I'm giggling, and then my mum notices and she starts to giggle, and my boyfriend just sits there and he looks at us, shaking his head, tutting and thinking, another year, I'm still here, I'm still with her. Seriously, I need an upgrade. So that is what I will be doing tonight. The other thing is, and this really entertains me, so we sit in the same pew every year at midnight mass, and that's great because it's now ours after about, 5 years or however long. And there's this post next to our pew, this big concrete pillar thing, and it's very impressive, or at least it would be very impressive had we not spotted the fact that somebody has scrawled into it, Jesus was here 2K15. Now, I'm not entirely sure, A, that Jesus was there in person in 2015, but also that he would have scrawled that particular message in there and left off the H entirely. It's just ear. So yeah, not entirely sure that that was actual Jesus, or that that's going to be some kind of religious artifact in the near future. But that's where I'm going to be tonight. I always look at it and I kind of think, hey ho, youth and hijinks. And I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to outgrow that being funny. So this being said, Christmas Eve, midnight mass, it always puts me into a kind of reflective mood. I think about the year gone by, what's been achieved, what I'm going to be taking into the new year. And that's kind of what I want to share with you. It's, it's not going to be a sales strategy heavy episode. There's going to be some key lessons and key learns, but they're going to be overall business learns and things that you can perhaps take into the next year, with some mince pie crunching. And I promise no more caroling. So don't worry about it. Sit back, relax, do your thing, and let's dig into 2018, what it was really like behind the mic. So for me this year, one of the biggest things that I learned was that bold moves win the day. Or as a good friend of mine, Dan Meredith, would quote, shy kids do not get sweets. Now, it's true. And this year for me, taking bold action has been a huge part of my business. And it's been the most terrifying, but also the most rewarding. And it's actually the reason that I'm connected with so many of you. You know, one of the big things that I did this year was step outside of my comfort zone by speaking at major industry events. So things like Upreneur, Media Influence Live with Janet Murray, Entrepreneurial Leaders Live with Helen Packham, Enterprise Nation Startup event way back in January, Expert Unrivaled with Jen Hall, and I even held my first own live event at the Ritz in London and launched my book on the same day, which was a crazy idea, never do that. But, you know, those kind of big, bold steps for me, and you're going to find out why they were big, bold steps later, they meant that actually I got to connect with a huge amount of people this year that otherwise I would not have met. And I'm very, very thankful for that. So bold moves have been a big part of the business. It's also meant that I've been able to interview some of my absolute idols this year. So through being bold and simply asking, I've been able to interview some incredible people, some of whom their episodes are still yet to come on the podcast. Some of them will be in January. But people like John Lee Dumas, Ashley Amberjay, and people coming up in the January episodes of the podcast, Jay Baer and Ali Brown. And for me, honestly, it has been absolutely phenomenal. It's just been a phenomenal experience to get to speak to and get to know some of the most amazing people, all through taking bold action. The other thing that has been in terms of bold action this year has been increasing my own network of peers. You know, one of the things that is typically quite hard for us to do in a laptop lifestyle type world is to actually meet people face to face and meet our peers and actually talk about what's going right in our businesses, but also more importantly, what's going wrong, you know, and being able to share problems and collaborate. And so for that, I'm really, really thankful to have increased my network of awesome entrepreneurs who I've been able to get to know this year and talk to on a really, really interesting level. And I'm going to be masterminding with some amazing, amazing people next year, which I'm very, very excited about. Another reflection moment for me this year has been about taking consistent and taking fast action. And this is something that's been best demonstrated by my clients, because in all honesty, this year, I've been saying no a lot. No was my word for the year. So actually, this is something that my clients excelled at, and I'm super, super proud of them. So I've watched some clients who've taken super fast action or super consistent action to achieve incredible results. So just a few of them, because I literally cannot list the over 1,000 people that have amazingly bought products or services from Smart Leaders Sell this year, but just some wins that I've seen and people I've been able to follow along the journey that I think have been amazing and totally inspirational this year, and hopefully will come on the podcast next year and share their secrets. So the lovely Mark Simpson, avid poddy and cash creation participant who made over £18,000 in 6 weeks, even though him and his amazing wife, Laura, welcomed in the birth of their baby, Frankie. Just 2 weeks into the course, they literally had the baby and Mark was on the call that week. It was unbelievable. Mark is one of my favorite people on the internet. He's been there right from the beginning, really, of the podcast, and has written in religiously to tell me what he has taken away from episodes, what he's liked about episodes, given really good feedback on episodes, and most importantly, shared the action steps. And his business, as a result this year, has grown exponentially because he is somebody who takes consistent action and a really nice guy to boot. So if you haven't met Mark, make sure you head over to his website, which is in the show notes, called Boostly. If you're a hospitality owner, then you need to get to know him. He is the man behind the marketing. Another person is Julie Dennis, who we heard from on the podcast a few months ago. She is one of my amazing clients. We worked together one-to-one at the beginning of 2018, which seems like a long time ago now. And Julie was amazing. She came on the podcast a few months ago and she talked about the fact that in December last year, she wanted to give up on her business. She was at a point where she was really done and she was giving it last chance saloon moments. And we worked together in January and February of 2018. She took her business in a completely different direction. She went from having a Facebook group and thinking about taking on these one-to-one clients to trusting me, even on some of the more interesting decisions that I was helping her to make. But she shut down that Facebook group. She worked her way onto LinkedIn and started signing major corporate clients to make menopause a mainstream topic this year. And honestly, it has been phenomenal to watch Julie's rise. And again, the thing that has made her so successful this year is that she hasn't said no, not once. Everything that she has done for her business, when she has said yes, she has wholeheartedly committed to and taken fast action on and made happen. And it's for that reason that I know Julie is going to be sat there at Christmas having the biggest glass of wine with a huge smile on her face and should be incredibly proud of herself this year. We've had Sarah Clark, who is an awesome fertility expert, quadrupling her call conversion close rate, which is phenomenal. Helen Packham and Jen Hall holding their first live events. Gemma Stowe creating her Introverts in Biz, that's her hashtag, on her Twitter chat, her first ever Twitter chat. That's been phenomenal to watch. And obviously, introverts in business is this huge topic that I think we should be talking more about. We've had Tina McDonald. She won a We Are the City Rising Star Award in the education category, and that has been phenomenal. Tina came into the Dotties, and we joke with her and we say, oh, you're now Tina 2.0, Tina 3.0, Tina 4.0. But honestly, Tina has gone past all of the point stages and has stepped into this amazing go-getter, action taker, completely unapologetically ambitious. And it's just been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal to watch her journey, and it's been phenomenal to see the impact on the children that she's working with all the time. And that's just been amazing. We also have the amazing Victoria Hatton, founder of Starlight and Stories, who works with parents of children with autism and special educational needs. Victoria has done amazing things this year, and if you have followed her on any social media platform, you'll know that she has launched mascots for autistic children. She has launched a newsletter club. She's launched parenting courses, teaching aids, and all the things. And from a sales perspective, she put out her first opt-in and got over 600 downloads. And I am super proud of her for not only the families that she's impacted this year, but also the impact on her own family and the rise in her income. That has just been phenomenal to watch, and she is so deserving. We've had Chloe Burrows, the amazing study expert, study and productivity guru, I call her. She was on television this year. You might have actually seen Chloe. She was on an Open University advert in the UK, riding a bicycle and doing other important things, but also phenomenally for setting a target to leave her job. And she did that early. We were all super proud of Chloe in the Dotties, and super proud of her in the Taking the BS Out of Biz course, when she was able, through the income that she generated, to leave her job early, or earlier than expected, and celebrate with a trip to Uprenor. Yay! We also have Sam Barefoot, who's taken her business into that 6-figure category, and the fabulous Liz Melville, who has gone, again, she's been on the podcast and she's talked about this very openly, gone from being, or trying to be, everything to everyone when it came to Facebook ads and funnels, to really owning the Facebook ads niche and working on some of the biggest and most famous Facebook advertising campaigns that you have seen this year. I guarantee that if you've seen certain big advertising campaigns, Liz has been the brains behind them, and it's been fabulous to watch. Not only that, but she has been on the stage speaking as well. She's been there at James Wedmore's live event and at Janet Murray's Content Live 2019. Now, not only this, these people have all taken action and you know, again, like I say, there are thousands and thousands of examples that I could have pulled out this year, but there are over 120 Dotties in the Dotties membership who've taken immediate and consistent action every single week and seen massive changes in their businesses. We've had people do their first 5K months, their first 10K months, their first 20K months. We've just had somebody do their first 14K week, all in businesses that are not necessarily in money-making industries. We're talking parrot trainers, we're talking wedding planners, we're talking website designers, fertility experts, nutritionists, the lot. And it has just been phenomenal to watch, and it's all down to the amount of action that they've taken every single week. And for that, they fully deserve to have seen these massive changes in their businesses. Add that to the cash creators this year, the podcasting that pays crowd, the taking the BS out of business group, the people who've been to my intensives, the people who came to my live event, the funnel freedom purchases, and every single other person who's bought the Smart Leaders Sell book, the planner, the wall planner that we've just released, anything at all, who've taken action on it. It's been awesome to see your wins this year. And honestly, if you are somebody who hasn't bought anything, but you've sat here all year, you've listened to all of these episodes of the podcast, and you've been taking action on them, whether it's slowly but surely or fast and consistent, well done you as well. You know, seriously, in the least condescending way ever, I just realized how that actually sounded coming out of my mouth. I am so proud, so proud of every single person in my community this year. The big theme, I think, for all of us, and the big change that I've been seeing this year online is that the tide is starting to turn. We are starting to take action. We are starting to realize that actually it's not a case of build it and they will come anymore. That isn't going to happen. It's not a case of give people a ton of free information and hope that they'll realize how amazing you are and start to buy. It's about being out there. It's about being loud and proud and owning a sales process that works for you. And so if you are doing that or have done that in any way, shape or form this year, know that I'm proud of you, that you are on my list as well of all the things that I'm thankful for this Christmas. It's also been interesting this year to reflect on whether or not I'm running the business that I want. And there have been points in the year, and I've been really honest about it on the podcast, I've been honest about it with my Facebook group, where I haven't. I've found that I'm not necessarily always running the business that I want in the way that I want, that fits the lifestyle that I want to have. And so there have been some things that have changed. You know, some of my lifestyle goals have changed. I used to think that actually I just really wanted to sit at home all day, every day and be a hermit. And whilst I love doing that, like, do not get me wrong, me and Netflix, we are bezies. It's actually been lovely this year to explore networking events, to be asked to speak at masterminding events, to be on stage and going to different events, meeting new people, and getting to step out of that introverted zone once in a while. It has, however, meant that I've had to embrace my introvert side and embrace my hermit time when I need it. And I think this year is the year that I finally realized that actually my body does need some looking after, you know, and I factored in other things to my lifestyle this year around the business that I perhaps haven't prioritized in other years. Things like gym time, focusing on my health and fitness. I know, it's so boring, but I'm, you know, hitting 30 next year. I need to think about this stuff. And actually, I'm really proud of that. You know, it's one of those things that when I started my business, I didn't quite realize how important some things were. And I think we've all been guilty of that. We've all been guilty of prioritizing the business above everything else. And for me, one of the things that I really prioritized it above was my health and wellness. And so this year, I've worked really hard. I've gone to the gym a lot. I've eaten much better than I ever have. And I've lost 7 kilos. So I'm pretty impressed about that. It also gives me a lot of room for wine drinking over winter. Like, I'm fine with this. Gym coming back for you in January, all right? So this year I've also, you know, when I've been looking at running the business I want to run, I've done some other things that have been, some of them have been great, some have been really uncomfortable. You know, I've distanced myself from people who've been popular online, but who haven't really been delivering results. And that's been difficult, right? And uncomfortable. I've started and held, with the help of some of my biz besties like Heather Gray, the amazing founder of ChooseToHaveItAll.com and the Business Mindset Mastery podcast, some super uncomfortable conversations on leadership, integrity, and being the real boss of your business. And actually, I've reassessed my business goals and reassessed the kind of business that I want, so that next year I can factor in even more people time. I'm going to be speaking at a few awesome events next year, and I'll be announcing those in January, which will be very, very exciting. But also factoring in the lifestyle piece that I built the business for, increasing my team, giving them more responsibility, and making sure that their businesses get to thrive as well as mine, which has been really, really hugely worth the investment. And it's been awesome to welcome new people to Team Jess. The other thing on that is about making hard decisions, right? There have been some hard decisions to be made this year. about probably being slightly less obsessive around what to do in my business, accepting that I cannot humanly do all the things, and giving some power over to my team. That's really hard for me. As somebody who is very OCD, and I'm going to say it in the nicest way, a little bit of controlling, actually handing things over to Team Jess, hiring brand new people into the team has been a scary place sometimes. And it was a really, really tough decision for me. But it has been one of the most worthwhile, and, you know, massive, massive thanks to everybody on Team Jess that goes above and beyond to make sure that all of our clients get exceptional customer service and that the quality of everything that we're putting out is the best that it can possibly be. Not to mention the fact that we've done half a rebrand in like less than 3 months, which has been pretty amazing. Hired some incredible people, worked on new platforms, set up entirely new membership sites, which was great. But, you know, we've had a lot of tech challenges and we've worked through an awful lot of obstacles this year. And I'm super, super excited to be celebrating 2019 with all of the people who made 2018 amazing. So masses and masses of thank yous to Liz, who is the wonderful COO on Team Jess, to Beth, who has been one of my most loyal community members, but also a phenomenal VA this year who's undertaken and who massively, massively helped out and basically ran the entire GDPR thing for us, which was incredible. We've had the lovely Heather out there on Twitter, out on graphics creation. Don't think we don't notice you. We've had Scott and Jessie working really, really hard on the podcast and the podcast production, which I think you can all agree the sound quality this year has been phenomenal. And we have put out episodes consistently for a whole year now, which is very, very exciting. We've put out over 130 episodes, and it's just been really, really awesome. Okay, so Team Jess, I do in that very British and very reserved way, love you an awful lot and appreciate all that you do for the business to make it the very best that it can be. The other thing that I've been reflecting on this year is family and friends. In previous years, they have taken a backseat, and actually in previous years, I have been the person, this is terrible, isn't it? But let's share a secret here. The first year that I met Sam's parents, I remember saying to Sam, actually, I've kind of like, we're going up there for Christmas, but I've kind of got a few, you know, bits that I want to do between Christmas and New Year. And I actually took a call in a car park the first year that I met his parents, and we had to be late to his mum's. I feel really bad, but also I'm never going to tell them. So if nobody could share this episode publicly, that'd be great. But we were late to his mum's by like half an hour. And we had to be like, oh, sorry, traffic was really bad. But actually, it was just me. I was stood in the car park talking to somebody about building my business for the next year. So I am officially a terrible, terrible future daughter-in-law. But, you know, it's one of those things. And I think we've all done it. We've all done it over the kids' school holidays. We've all done it over, you know, events like Christmas or people's birthdays and things like that. And for me, this is the first year that actually I really have worked hard to put my friends and family first. So for me, it's meant not working Monday mornings, not working Wednesday evenings, not working Friday afternoons religiously all year. So I haven't done any of that. And actually making time for the important people in life, making sure that we go and visit friends and family regularly, going out for birthdays, not saying no, not hermiting at home, not preferring to kind of stay in my, you know, jeans and hoodie to get things done or get a blog post out or whatever it is that I've prioritized in the past, but actually putting them first and making that conscious effort every single week to socialize and to actually, you know, spend quality time with people, you know. And that's been a huge, huge focus for me in 2018. It's something I really want to continue into 2019. And that is, in fact, the reason that I'm sat here batch recording these episodes to go out, because this year for Christmas, we are hopefully going to be away, flight dates depending. So hopefully when you're listening to this, I'll be on a beach somewhere. But it will be the first year ever that we haven't done a big family Christmas, that we haven't driven up the country and down the country to see my family and Sam's family and be working in between. In fact, I will be on a beach, no laptop, probably no Wi-Fi, and just very excited to be consuming cocktails. So if you are somebody this year who has felt like it's been hard to prioritize your loved ones, please make that a priority in 2019. And it's not just me preaching it. It's just that, there have been some times this year, there have been some incidences this year where I've realized just how important those people are and just what a massive support network they give us during these business building years. And so I think any time that you can spend, any quality time that you can spend with your friends, spend with your family, is super, super important and will massively contribute to the success of your business, whether it's revenue generating or just emotional well-being. And then finally, a big reflective moment for me has been about accepting my limitations. There are some goals I didn't hit this year, and I'm totally okay with it. Because in order to hit them, I would have had to compromise other things that were on my priority list and came higher. Things like friends, family, emotional sanity, health, wellness, and those things, for me, they came first this year. And so I have had to accept that I do have limitations and also talk openly about them in the hope that me talking openly about them will show other people that it's normal, and that when you're building a business, no matter how successful it gets, you're still going to have things that you wish were different or that you wish you could improve upon. For me, another thing that's been talked about a lot this year and that I've talked about a lot this year are these key topics that we tend to shy away from online. Integrity, what it really means, authenticity, what it really means, introversion. I announced to the however many hundreds of people in the Upreneur room on stage that I was an introvert, and that after I'd done the talk, I was going to need some hermit time. I did also say on that stage that my people, my tribe, were the eccentric wine drinkers. So, take out which of those is more important to you and use that to move forward, right? But it's true. And 2019 for me is the year that I want to talk even more openly about what it really takes to run a business, what it really means to run a business, and how difficult or easy it can be. Because I think sometimes we all get caught in this little bubble where we think it should be easy. It should be one of those things where we make the 6 figures in 6 months, and if we don't, we beat ourselves up and are super, super critical. But in reality, it doesn't happen like that for the majority of people. And that's a conversation that I want to keep having next year and keep, helping to build and helping to contribute a generation of business builders who want to build the best business for them and for their bank balance, not just for the kudos that it potentially might bring them on a Facebook ad, standing in front of a Lamborghini spewing money out of their, I was going to say orifices, but I mean pockets. So, that's kind of my reflection on 2018, if I'm being super honest, and in that kind of reflective Christmas Eve state. That's how I felt about a lot of it. And I would consider it prudent for you guys to do the same. Reflect upon your 2018, reflect upon what you've done really well, because now is a time to reflect, but also a time to celebrate. And I think, everyone will always find and be very good at finding the things that haven't gone as well as they expected. But we don't always take time to celebrate the things that we've done well, the things that we want to take into the new year. Every year we just focus on making these resolutions to make us better people or better business owners. And sometimes we can forget the really, really good things that we have managed. So whether for you that was attending every single one of your kids' sports days, plays, nativity plays, parents' evenings, whether it was walking your dog regularly twice a day at the same hours so that you knew exactly what to do to get them into a routine, whether it was increasing your revenue goal, and actually hitting it, or whether it was decreasing your revenue goal in favor of setting up a health and fitness goal or a family related goal. Whatever it is this year that you have to celebrate it, please take some time today, even if it's just 5 minutes, to think about the things that you are really, really proud of. And whatever it is, wherever you're thinking it, know that I'm there in your head telepathically cheering you on. I'm raising a massive, bloody massive glass of red wine to celebrate the fact that together we've had an awesome 2018. I hope that you have the best Christmas day tomorrow. I really, really do. And I hope that there are smiles and festive fun and great food and, more importantly, great wine for everybody. And I will see you on the podcast on Friday. I will be there on Friday with a super special guest with a super special question but also I will be there on New Year's Eve, and hopefully we can ring in 2019 together. Don't worry, I promise I won't be singing Auld Lang Syne, sort of. I'll see you in Friday's episode. Have a phenomenal Christmas poddies, and I'll see you next week.